Hey everyone, today I'm going to give you guys 5 characters that you should be playing in Deadlock right now, especially if you're new. I'm going to give a brief rundown of their kit, and I'm going to give you guys a good build that you should be using with an explanation of why we're building these items. So let's get into it. Our first character is going to be Drifter.
Let's get this show on.
Real quick guys, I did not realize how red the Hidden King area made my face and skin look, so I'm going to make my camera black and white for the rest of this video. Anyway, back to the video. So with all the characters today, I picked them all because I think they're all pretty easy, or at least have a pretty low skill floor. And Drifter's no exception. He's kind of considered not too strong of a character at a high level, but I think he's a big pub stomper, and I honestly think he's pretty underrated. So a super brief rundown of Drifter's kit. His one is a cone attack that procs melee items. It's going to be something you're going to see in the build. But yeah, it hits pretty hard. It's a pretty low cooldown. It's pretty good. Drifter 2 is a throwable, a line throwable, that if you hit an enemy with, or camp, or even the mid rejuve crystal, you can actually TP to it and you'll TP behind them. It does some dot damage along the way as well, doing spirit damage. It's also a charge ability, but nothing too crazy there. Drifter 3 is a passive ability. Basically, when people are isolated, you'll do more damage to them. Drifter is very much like a playstyle where you single out, solo laners or people caught out of position that aren't with their team, and you do a lot of extra damage to them and you kill them. And it also lets you know when people are alone because you can hear their heartbeat, and it leaves a trail wherever they are in like the jungle or in lane. You'll see like a red trail following them. Drifter ult is just something you click and it seeks out the enemies on its own, but it basically blinds them. It gives them like near sight. So think kind of like an Omen blind from Valorant or a Fineokay ult from Smite. They just won't be able to see very far. It's a very, very strong team fight ultimate. You can very easily confuse the enemies, and you're also going to be doing spirit damage with every auto attack in your ult. You can see here the little 26 on the left is the spirit damage. All right, and as far as Drifter's build goes, you can just look up Fineokay Drifter 12826. I'll also put the build codes in the description. All of the builds for all these characters will be titled like this, so you can find it that way, but they'll also all be in the description. But yeah, we're going to be focusing on a gun-heavy build for Drifter, which I think how you should play him. Early game, a bit more of a melee focus because, like I said earlier, one actually procs melee items. So it'll proc melee lifesteal and lifestrike. And lifestrike is actually something I recommend that you rush in the laning phase, because once you get your 1 max and have lifestrike, which is only a 4-second cooldown, it's guaranteed lifestrike procs, and it makes you very, very hard to deal with. You have a ton of sustain, you do a lot of damage, and when you combine that with a battle vest early on, you get your green investment. Now, when I say green investment, or purple investment, or weapon investment, what I mean is in Deadlock, once you get a 4,800 souls spent in a category, you get a huge investment bonus that gives you extra stats from that category. So more weapon damage if it's the weapon category, 4,800, more health if it's the green category, and you get to 4,800, and more spirit power if you get to the 4,800 spirit category. So that's what I mean. So once you get the battle vest plus life strike, you have your green investment, you'll have a lot of HP, it'll be super tanky, and you can just run at people, which is what this character wants to do. And if you just build from left to right, all these items are really good on him. Toxic Bullets, I think, is actually his best item. It does so much damage and is very easy to proc, especially combined with Superior Duration, which you're going to want to buy anyway because it makes your ult last longer, it makes your 2 last longer, and I just think it's generally a good item because you're also going active items like Fleet Foot, which makes you run a lot faster and be able to chase people down. Again, Superior Duration will increase the duration of this as well. We go close quarters and point blank because Drifter really only auto attacks up close. He actually doesn't have a lot of range, so it's just super synergistic there. And then we transition to a Glass Cannon Lucky Shot late game because these are kind of the Glass Cannon especially is like the best gun item in the game right now, combined with Lucky Shot, very, very good. Same thing with Vampiric Burst, just super, super good burst and rundown potential. Juggernaut for even more slow resist to chase them down. And we have some situations over here. Spellbreaker, if they're blowing you up with spirit damage, I think like a Calico's diving you, knowing you, Yamato, Pocket, stuff like that, are going spirit builds. Plated armor, if you're getting out traded, say you're like 1v1ing like a Haze, for example, she's got a weapon build and you're struggling, you can go plated armor and it should help you out trader. And here, if they have a lot of healing, curse, if they just have like one problem character, you can just throw a curse on them and your team should be able to focus them down. Silencer, similar to Spellbreaker, if they have a lot of spirit damage and you want to get a little more damage, but still help yourself out, silence some abilities, then you can go that. But yeah, nothing too crazy. If you just build from left to right, you'll be good. Early game, you want to be focused on like spamming your 1. When it comes to the late game, you want to start to slow down using that because you kind of just want to be holding left click on people and chasing them down. In the mid game, try and roam around the map and look for people isolated in lanes because you'll have easier time killing them. And if you get kills, you get extra stacks, which gives you weapon damage on your 3. And then late game, don't be afraid to initiate because again, you can click your ult and they'll all get blinded, it'll get confused, and you can kind of just run in there. And this is part of the reason they can get isolated is because they're not going to be near their team if they're getting ulted and stuff, so you can run them down. I personally think this character is super underrated. I think I've played him like 6 games in a row now, and I think I've won every game. He can just gun people down, and it feels pretty good. That's Drifter as our first easy character you should play. Our next easy character that you should play right now that's actually very, very strong is Haze. All right, super brief rundown of Haze Kit. Haze 1 is a dagger that sleeps enemies. It doesn't interrupt enemies, so if they're using a channeled ability, such as like a Dynamo, it's not going to interrupt that, but it will interrupt flying characters, so like a Great Talon or Vindicta, they will fall to the ground. But it does sleep them. Now they can technically move it. They barely can move. They're only going to move a very short distance, but they cannot perform any action. So if you sleep them, you can get a heavy melee off because they can't parry. They can't use their dash abilities. They can't use any abilities. And yeah, they can just kind of sit there. Haze 2 is pretty simple. You just go invisible. If you get near enemies, it'll actually review you, so be careful near them. You can use items while invis, and you won't go back to being visible, but if you shoot or attack, you'll remove the invisibility. You do get some extra sprint speed in this, and you can actually use your dagger while invis, and it won't actually put you back to visible. Haze 3 is fixation. It's a passive. Basically, every time you shoot somebody, you add a stack to them, so the more and more that you shoot them, the more bullet damage you'll do, and once you have a point in it, it'll actually do some spirit damage every 20 stacks. It might seem a little confusing, but really all it is if the more you shoot somebody, as long as the fixation stacks are still on them, so let's say like they get out of line of sight and drop those stacks, you're going to lose this. But if they don't, the more you shoot them, the more damage you're going to do. Pretty simple. And then Haze ult is bullet dance. Basically, you just channeled ability. You do a bunch of damage to at least one person. And it's going to scale off your gun, actually, so keep that in mind, even though you might be considering that it's like a spirit ability or whatever. It's going to scale heavily off of your gun because you're still using your gun during this. Yeah, so it's sort of like a Reaper ult from Overwatch, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you basically just go into your ult and do a bunch of damage to the people around you. Now, keep in mind, it's going to spread amongst multiple enemies. So if there's only one person, it's going to do a lot more damage to them. But if there's 4 people here, it's going to spread amongst them 25% each, basically. Now, the way Haze is being played right now that's very, very strong is you're going to be looking for isolated characters out of your invis. You're going to dagger them. And then you're going to click some active items that we're going to talk about, and you're just going to go into your ult, and you're going to one-shot basically everybody. So let's go ahead and talk about those active items that I was just talking about. So here's the build. You can look up Fineokay Haze 12826. Again, it's going to be in the description, so no worries. You're going to be building left to right. We're going active reload on Haze because it's very, very good. She's got a big mag size, so you can instantly reload with this active reload, and it gives you bullet lifesteal in the laning phase, which is very, very good. Extra health is good. It's just a free extra 185 HP, and you're kind of squishy in the early game, so combine extra health with some active reload lifesteal. Going to help your lane quite a lot. Rapid rounds and Swift Striker because fire rate's very good on Haze because the faster that we shoot, the more that we can stack up fixation on people. And sprint boots plus enduring speed come to the mid game because we want to start roaming as this character right now on Haze because, like I said, her playstyle is you want to be going invis, looking for people with your dagger and just kind of blowing them up. We go slowing bullets and slowing hacks to keep people near us when we ult. Slowing hacks especially because if you aren't aware, slowing hacks is basically a cripple in this game. It makes it so they can't use their movement abilities and slows them. So what you can do is you can go invis, dagger them, and then slowing hex them so they can't use their escapes as they come out of that sleep from your dagger. And you're just going to be ulting them, and they're just going to basically die. Surge of Power, Fury Trance, Burst Fire, all these things are going to increase our fire rate. Fury Trance also increases our bullet lifesteal. But keep in mind with Fury Trance, especially if you're new to the game, this is going to silence you, so you're not going to be able to use abilities or stamina during this. So make sure you're popping this when you're really just trying to hold left click and burst somebody down. We go Ricochet towards that end of the mid game, maybe the early late game, so that we can farm super easily so we can get some of these expensive late game items. Curse, Unstoppable, we're going Curse. For the same reason we go Slowing Hacks, we're going to dagger people out of our invis, curse them, and then ult, and they're just going to die. They can't do anything. Not only can they use movement abilities, they can't use anything during Curse. So it's a very, very strong combo. Unstoppable so that we can actually get our ult off for the entirety of a fight or 1v1, no matter what it is. Unstoppable makes you completely CC immune for 6 seconds or 5.5 seconds. And then we can build these other items situationally depending on the game. Silencer if they have a lot of spirit damage. Inhibitor if they have a lot of healing. Now, if you're not much of an aimer or you don't like holding left click the entirety of games, you just kind of want to click forward and watch people die, you can transition this build a little bit more to just be ult focused by going Superior Duration and Warpstone, because you can actually use items in your ultimate. So Warpstone, for example. Let me see if I can buy this real quick. Okay, so I have Warpstone now. Let me just show you the full combo. I can kind of show you what I was talking about. So you can dagger them, you can curse them, and then you can go Unstoppable and pop your ult. And if I get out of range of them, so say he's still there, I can actually Warpstone back towards him. So yeah, that's the build for Haze. That's how you should be playing her. She's very, very good right now, and I honestly think she's got a pretty low skill floor, so you should be able to pick her up pretty easily, especially if you're coming from a game that requires a lot of aiming. You should be very good at holding left click on people and keeping your fixation stacked. So, yep. And the next easy hero you should be playing is Infernus. And for a real brief rundown of Infernus' kit, Infernus 1 is Napalm. It's just like a line shootables you throw out that coats them in Napalm, which gives you extra damage done to them. It does a little bit of spirit damage. It also slows them, and with some points into it, it'll also give you some life steal and reduce their healing. Infernus 2 is a dash that leaves a huge damage over time. Snail trail behind you. It goes pretty far. This is actually what we're going to be building for today because it's a very fun build, and I also think quite strong. So yeah, it's just a dash. You can run around. You can kind of control it pretty easily. If you hold W, you get a speed boost. If you don't hold W, you'll be a bit slower. Infernus 3 or Afterburn is just another passive ability that the more you shoot somebody, you can build up this little this little meter here, and if you get to that threshold, you'll apply Afterburn, and they'll start taking tick damage. You can reapply it or keep it going a little bit if you keep hitting them when they have Afterburn on them. For all you new players, Afterburn seems like a very, very strong ability, and it can be, but it's also easily countered by stuff like debuff remover and stuff like that. So that's probably the reason we're going to be going a different build today and not focusing as hard on Afterburn. Infernus Ult is just a big AoE stun that does spirit damage around you. You activate it, and after a short duration, you stun people around you. All right, let's go over the build. Like I said, we're gonna be building for the dash today with the dash Infernus build. I've been using this build for a while, and I think it's super, super fun and super strong. I've had a lot of people come to my Twitch chat and just like in YouTube comments and stuff say that they've done dash Infernus, not even just with my build, but just in general, and they think it's super good and super fun. And I very, very heavy agree. I think it's a super fun thing you should try. So yeah, building from left to right, going monster around so we just have a little bit of weapon damage so we can farm in the early to mid game. So Mystic Regen and Radiant Regen are considered generally not great items, but I think for dash Infernus specifically, it makes a lot of sense. You're going to be spamming dashes, and you have 2 charge abilities on this character, your 2 and your 1. So you're constantly spamming, constantly getting AoEs on multiple people. So I personally think it's very, very good. And it also lets you not have to go Spirit Lifesteal if you don't want to in the early game, which you still can go if you want. But extra health because we're going to be kind of tanky with this build where we want to be. We're building a bit more bruiser so that we can dash in and not get punished. Cold Front because we can pop this during our dash. It'll slow them, keep them in our dash damage, that snail trail. Extra charge, which will apply to our 1 until we get our dash max. So you don't have charges on your dash until it's maxed out. Once you have it maxed out, then you get the extra charges of it, and you'll have extra charge. You kind of want to build your rapid recharge around the same time that you have your dash max, and your dash is the first ability that you want to max, of course. And then we're just building from left to right. All this stuff is either making our dash last longer, making it bigger, giving some synergy in the sense that we're going to be near them, so we're doing extra damage to them with Torment Pulse, or making us tankier so that we can actually get more dashes off and be in the middle of a team fight and not have to worry. We can Warp Stone during our dash as well. So if you're trying to gap close, they're a little bit farther away and you want to instantly get on them. Or you can, you can't really go up in height. You can't get any verticality when you're dashing. So you can Warp Stone up onto a ledge or something if they're trying to get away. And yeah, we're basically just aura maxing, tank maxing, and just running at them with our dashes. We'll have an Arctic Blast so they can freeze them in our dash later on. Kind of some non-bow there because we have fire and ice, but it's okay, your ice won't melt. So a lot of time these counter items, these optional items on the side, you may not build in every game, but on at least the dash Infernus build, you should have a couple of these items in every single game just so that you can be super, super tanky and get as many dashes off as possible and ones off in these mid-game team fights. So if they have a lot of bullet damage, bullet resilience, if they have a lot of healing, Heal Bane. In fact, I'd probably go Heal Bane in the dash Infernus build every single game. Metal Skin is very, very strong right now as well. They're going to have gun characters. Just build Metal Skin and dash on them, and they will be very, very sad. And that's basically the dash Infernus build. The reason I think this is very good right now and very easy, especially for all you new players, is that, one, you're going to have multiple dashes, so you're super safe. You can just dash around the map, and it goes very, very far with the build. So you can get out of a lot of hairy and sticky situations. But it's also just free damage. Like, it's super easy to connect your damage on people in team fights, especially like a full-on team fight where everybody's doing their own thing and they're maybe not focused on just you. There's going to be a lot of snail trails on the ground that they have to worry about, and a lot of times they'll just walk over and take immense amounts of damage for free. So that's Infernus. Definitely try him. He's super fun, and I think you'll do well with him. All right, and the fourth hero today is going to be Seven. Seven is a very easy character that's going to be very strong in lower to mid levels of play for sure, because a lot of people aren't going to be building the counter items that you kind of need to build for him. And like I said, he's very easy, so this kit rundown should be pretty simple. Your 1 is a throwable, big old ball that does spirit damage over time. World Geometry and enemies will slow it down, so they'll take extra damage in it. But it's very easy to get out of unless it gets super big or they're like slowed in it or stunned in it, for example. And speaking of stuns, your 2 is just a point and click stun. Then after a short duration, we'll stun them and do a bit of spirit damage. You can see it killed him. It doesn't do a lot of spirit damage, but he was really low. Now, early on, it's really only ever going to be stunning one person unless they group on top of each other, but once you get some points into it, it does stun a bit more in a radius. So it is an AoE stun. You can stun everybody in this AoE. 7-3 or Power Surge is a self buff. Once you click it, you'll have a Chain Lightning that bounces between enemies. Very good for farming jungle camps because all the camps are going to be grouped up and it'll just bounce between them. Be a lot of damage. Also very good in team fights because they're grouped up at all. It'll bounce between them and do a lot of extra damage. And then 7 Ultimate is a very strong team fight ability. You just go into it and you start doing spirit damage to everybody in this radius, and it lasts a very long time. You can move in it when it's maxed out. You can also point and click in it once to knock people away. Just a bit of extra CC. That's kind of the ability that you should be playing for, especially with this build, especially if you're new, lower levels of play, mid levels of play. This is going to guarantee win you team fights a lot of the time. So here's our build. We're gonna be going monster rounds early game just for some early game farm potential. We're not gonna ever really build that into cultists. We don't really need to. Suppressor because we're gonna reduce everybody's fire rate when we go into our ultimate, for example, or when we throw balls on them, or we proc them with our surge on our 3. It's just really good utility, especially in team fights, especially if people are going to be trying to shoot at us when we go into our ultimate. Our Recharging Rush is a new item, but I think it's actually really good on 7. Get your 1 back very easily, and it requires you to not have to go extra charge or rapid recharge on this character. And some of these other items just improve spirit so we can do some extra damage, spirit lifesteal so we can lifesteal on our ultimate, which will eventually build into infuser anyway, and enduring speed so we can run around the map and roam like crazy and hyper farm. Duration extender for the same reason, increase our ult duration, but also our 3 duration and our stun duration, which is very generally good. Except of course this is only going to imbue 1 ability, but eventually we're going to get spear duration, which will imbue all of our abilities. So when you do buy a duration extender right away, you probably just want to put this on in 3. You don't need it for the ult in that early game. Yeah, building from left to right, we'll get our weapon investment here. We are going to be missing out on our green investment until we get to Infuser, because all we have is Enduring Speed and Spirit Lifesteal, which is only going to be 3,200. So I do recommend getting like a Metal Skin or a Spirit Resilience, whatever's causing you more trouble in that specific game. A lot of times it's going to be Metal Skin, because you can also just pop this and go into your ultimate, and they literally can't shoot you. So that's very, very good. Yeah, Sub-Duration, like I said, very synergistic with this character in general, and also help with our Toxic Bullets, which we'll already have our weapon investment because we're going Ballistic Enchantment, which we're putting on our ball. But Toxic Bullet's very good on this character. And you're not always going to be in your ultimate, especially like you can look for poke, look for an engagement right off the bat. Maybe it's not a good place for you to ult right away. So you can get a lot of weapon damage off just holding left click in a team fight towards the start, throwing out your abilities like your 1 and your 2, and then maybe look for a better spot to use your ult. And then we're going to really transition into an ult build. We're going to be going Boundless and Escalating. Escalating is going to do a lot of damage on our ultimate, also synergistic with 7-3, of course. Infuser, we're going to pop this, go into our ultimate. Now, go Unstoppable basically every single game, especially if they have interrupts. A lot of times, like maybe at lower levels of play, they won't buy the counter items, so you won't need to get this as early. But if they are building the counter items, stuff like Knockdown for your ultimate, they have characters that can interrupt it, like Last Shot, or they're going like Curses to curse you out of it. You want to get the Unstoppable a bit earlier so that you can be unstoppable in your ultimate, and you won't get CC'd out of it. And then transition more to a bit tanky, because this will be plenty of damage. You have enough damage and sustain. With all this, you don't really need to go any more gun items or anything like that. You can just literally go into like cooldown, plated armor, spellbreaker, and be very, very tanky and hard to deal with. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you buy these items and you get these late game tier 4s with Infuser, Unstoppable, Escalating, and you just pop those and go into your ultimate, you're gonna be crazy. And the last easy character that you should be playing right now is Warden.
Isn't about good.
Gun Warden is super strong right now and so easy to play, so definitely want to be abusing this. Brief rundown of Warden Kit. 1 is a throwable grenade that removes some stamina from them, slows them. It's a super short cooldown, especially when it's max 6 seconds. Pretty crazy. Warden 2 is just an ability you click and it gives you movement speed and a barrier or a shield. And that's really all it does. Warden 3, Binding Ward, is a throwable point and click that if they don't get out of this cage after a short duration, if they don't get out of it, they'll get immobilized. And they can sit there. Now they can parry in this and they can shoot and do stuff in that. They're not completely useless. They're not completely stunned. But they are just going to be stuck there after that short duration, and you can get free headshots on them if they don't get out of it. You also get extra weapon damage if the ability's maxed out and they get stuck in it. Then Warden Ultimate is after a short channel where you're very tanky during this channel. You get extra spirit resist and bullet resist, but after that's done, you start doing some spirit tick damage to everyone in this AoE, this cone. You also heal for a lot of the damage done. As you can see, it's 65% hero lifesteal. So everybody you're hitting with your ult, you're gonna be healing quite a lot. That's kind of your go button, even with the gun build. If you click 4
it'll all be over.
And then click 2 and run at them and start shooting, you're gonna just be able to run at everybody. It's gonna be very hard for them to deal with you during this. All right, and for Warden build, I just realized that my camera might have been blocking some of the build options on the right, so sorry about that, but you'll still see it when you see it in game. But for Warden build, just kind of like the quintessential gun build right now, building left to right. Quicksilver reload on Warden specifically, very good. You put this on your 1. Combined Fleet Foot, Kinetic Dash, Swift Striker, Intensifying Mag in the mid game, you can absolutely run at people. Hollow Point is gonna be like a quintessential weapon damage item. Get Cultist as early as possible. Not before 8 minutes, but around the 8-minute mark, and then go ahead and instantly sacrifice a tier 3 camp. The earlier we get Glass Cannon, the better, and then Burst Fire for extra fire. We can burst people down as we run at them. If they get caught in our 3, we get a Burst Fire proc. We'll absolutely slam them with headshots. Debuff Remover if they're building a lot of counter items, or they have some characters that it works really well against, like an Infernus. And then we're just going to upgrade some of our items here. Merc Mag from Quicksilver Reload, and Juggernaut from our Enduring Speed, and then Lucky Shot Vampiric Burst. Again, like I talked about with Drifter, kind of the quintessential gun items right now that are very, very good. Pop Vampiric Burst and just run at them, especially in your ult. You are going to gun people down. Then we can go Subduration. You actually can go Subduration earlier if you want. You can get that Spirit investment a little bit earlier, and of course, that's going to apply to your ultimate, make it last very, very long. So that's cool, and also work on your 2. It'll make them get immobilized for longer in your 3. So there are some benefits for sure to that. Your slow will last longer. It applies to every ability, so you can definitely get earlier if you want that spirit investment. And then same thing for every other character. We have some options here for a late game. For getting absolutely owned by spirit characters, we could go Silencer or Spellbreaker. They have a lot of healing. You can go Inhibitor. They have a lot of healing and you want to do some extra damage and slam them, which actually works really well on Warden because you'll get a lot of extra free headshots with your 3. You can go Crippling and Plated if they're doing a lot of weapon damage to you. That's pretty much Warden, guys. In the early to mid game, just make sure you're combining your 3 with your 1. So if we 3 them, we can throw our 1 at them and remove some of the stamina and slow them down, so it'll make it harder for them to get away. Make it more likely they will actually trap them. Other than that, his abilities are pretty self-explanatory and he's pretty simple, and especially with the gun build. You're just gonna try and hold left click and run at people, basically. That's basically it. And that is it, guys. Those are 5 heroes you should be playing right now, especially if you're new with their builds. And I think they're all pretty good right now, and you'll see success, and you should be able to climb with them. Let me know what you think down below. What are you having success with right now? What build? What character? I would like to know. And if you like this type of video, you find it helpful or informative, then leave a like and a comment, and I'll do more of them. But that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.